Oh, you're so welcome. That was too good not to address. That's a gem. We have lots of stories, but that one was our favorite. Okay. So yeah, why did you really switch lanes?
It was between, like, I wanted to do something more artistic, something more like beauty shots. I started shooting like earring lines, paparazzi earrings back in the day.
Okay.
There was a lot of beauty shots, but it was like with a twist. It was more poppy. It was the Video Girls, but it was like I was starting to shooting them in a more classier way.
More artistic.
More artistic.
More fashion.
More high end.
More high end.
And pretty much not raunchy. Like,
right. Classy.
Yeah.
It was classy.
And then I got to the point where I started wanting to do more fashion, like high fashion, because I enjoy doing that type of makeup.
Mm-hmm.
And I miss doing that. But honestly, I think a big part of it was when I had Jaden. He grew up around models.
Yeah, he did.
Playmates. Like, I have 2 boys. Like, I'm not going to sit there and have my kids, you know, they get to a certain age.
Yeah.
And they can't be around naked women all the time.
Yeah.
So that's what I was around. Like, my kids, I'm not going to tell this part, but, like, they can literally be in a room with a naked woman and not even give 2 fucks.
Well, I know. I remember so many times just shooting, and then, like, Jaden would just, like, run across the floor.
And not even
like,
look.
Hey, dude, what's up? No, he's so unfazed by it, which is kind of, honestly, I think it's between you and I think it's a good thing, because as he gets older, he's not going to be, like, hyper-sexualized kid. Like, you know how teenage boys are, like...
Dylan, too, though.
Yeah, exactly. Both of them.
They're round fucking...
Both of them.
All the time.
They are. But it's good because they'll have more of, like, it won't be a big deal to them. They're not going to be, like, these oversexed teenagers. Yeah. They're boys, yeah, but, you know, it'll be...
But I got to a point where, like, editing photos at home at night with my kids watching TV, like, I'm sitting there, like, editing
nipples.
Pussies.
Yeah, literally pussies, yeah.
And
which is, I give you credit, dude. It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I
It's
know,
a lot to look at. Especially when you can do like 5 or 6 or 7 or 10 photos.
Especially when the pussy's someone's that's like, we know. I know some of the pussies you had to look at, man. I know. Okay.
So pretty much in a nutshell. I have 2 sons, and I wanted them to, like, I guess there's also the objectifying woman.
Which makes perfect sense. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but on some level you were kind of over it.
Yeah.
Just tired of it. You can only do the same thing so much before you're like,
I was
creatively, you're creative. So creatively, if you're not venturing out and doing new things, you get stifled.
I was over it.
You're over it. Okay. So, let's talk about your segue into fashion, because your fashion stuff is my favorite. I think that's where personally as your friend, watching your career and the transitions that you've been through, I feel like when you really came into fashion is when you were really like seeing what the fuck you were capable of doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's more me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, even like the sexy stuff I like to shoot it in a more fashionable way.
Right.
Like, I don't know, I like looking at high fashion. I like the clothes, I like the makeup and the hair, and you can't get a high fashion photo without all the aspects. So it's a production. And I like the production end of things. It's like, but at the same time, I can do that production by myself. I don't need to have a whole team to do it.
Right. So do you feel like you have more, in what facet of photography do you feel you have the most freedom?
In high fashion.
In high fashion.
Or beauty.
Or beauty. Okay.
Because I still like faces. I like to see emotions. I like to see, like, a face is so much, like, it doesn't really matter about your body or your size or anything. Like, there's so much beauty in just a face. And so you can pull that out of anyone.
And do you attribute that to your background as a makeup artist?
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Well, not only that, I think also struggling with body image and stuff myself, and always being around either shooting plus size girls or shooting like sticks.
Right.
Especially in high fashion.
Right.
Like, they're even smaller, so it went from shooting video vixen girls that are very curvy and voluptuous, but they weren't plus size.
Right.
To plus size to the sticks.
Right.
Like, the one thing that I can be consistent on is their emotion in their face.
Right. that is consistent. That is consistent. So, where are you? Where are you now creatively? Because you are such a versatile photographer, and I feel like you've done so many things. But I'm sure there's still more on your plate to do. So, where are you now?
Right now, I'm focusing more on commercial photography, more advertisements, more publications, campaigns, celebrities. But I am about to do a little twist on things. So I'm like digging into my own style and my own niche a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to start doing that with like every client that I do. Like I'll do what they want to do, but then afterwards I want to go my direction and do what I want to do.
What you want to do. And you've always kind of done what you want to do.
It depends.
Kind of. I feel like over the years you've kind of like...
With you.
More and more. Yeah, we
That's
have.
different.
We
That's
have.
with you.
That is true. But I
The people
will say...
I know that I can do it with.
Yes. I will say creatively you have always had your own style. You know, I can look at photos and know they're your... I mean, maybe that's because I've spent the last fucking 5 years looking at your work consistently. So I could point out your work in 1,000 photos. Yeah. You have a signature thing.
But I don't know what that is.
It's weird. I don't even really know what
because
it is.
People ask me, what is my signature? Like, what is your style of photography? Mm-hmm. What makes you different than other photographers? And I cannot answer that question.
It's just something about the way you shoot people. It's just something about the way you shoot people, because I'm telling you, I could pick out your photo in a million photos. And it's something that, it doesn't matter if you're shooting men, it doesn't matter if you're shooting women, if it's fashion, if it's fucking glamour. I feel like there is a thing, I don't know what it is either, honestly, but I feel like that's what makes any great artist great, is that they're identifiable, you know? So it doesn't mean that you stay the same, you're evolving, but your work is identifiable, just like, you know, a fucking David LaChapelle or, you know, Terry Richardson. You know whose photo you're looking at, and I feel like you have that. So I think that's badass. What are you doing this year? What's on your agenda this year?
I'm looking for like agency representation.
Okay.
I'm trying to build a stronger celebrity portfolio.
Okay.
And I am trying to do some like personal projects. And I want to open up a studio.
Very good. Very, very good. And what's the best thing about what you do? What do you love the most about what you do?
Making people feel good about themselves.
Yeah.
Making them see themselves in a different way.
Right. What's one of the most memorable reactions you've gotten to a photograph you've taken of somebody?
This woman I shot, she was dying of cancer. Mm-hmm. It was her and her daughter. And she was like 8, like she was old. Mm-hmm. Like she was in her 80s. And they saw the portraits of them together and like of just herself, and she was this like really regal woman, like she reminded me like of Coco Chanel. Like
I remember those photos. Wasn't she gray and she kinda had longer hair?
No, she
shorter hair?
Yeah.
She was gray, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely gray.
Yeah.
She was old.
She was old.
But she saw the pictures and she broke down crying. She's never seen herself look that way at that age and after all the cancer and everything like that.
Right. It's a beautiful thing. I think that
or like a girl that's overweight.
Right.
Who hates their body.
Right.
Who I could relate with.
Right.
Growing up, or like even now, like just in general.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, she looks at me and is like, "That's not me."
Right.
I didn't even like, and I showed her before and afters of the edits and everything. I did not change her body at all.
At all.
I changed their skin, like the little imperfections, but I kept her. I don't want to make someone look like a completely different person.
Right.
Except for Renee.
Oh man. Except when we're being paid and asked to. If we're being asked to, then we will. So, what do you do when you're not shooting? Is it hard to like check out of being a creative sometimes and like turn your mind off and
it's really hard to just juggle everything.
Yeah.
Being a mom and having to come home, like switch gears, like take off one hat and put on another.
Mm-hmm.
Like even at a shoot, if I'm doing makeup and then going straight into photography, I have to take off the makeup artist hat, put on the photographer hat, go home, be a mom and then go back to photographer, edit pictures, and then it's like there's like no downtime. It's always changing into something else. Like
It's
I'm
always go.
Yeah.
What's something that most people wouldn't know about you?
There's a lot. I've had a lot of trials and tribulations.
What?
I don't know what I want to get into with that question.
Yeah, okay. So, what do you do when you're not shooting, you're not being a mom, and you're not wearing one of your hats? Like when it's just
Like
you,
for me?
For you, what do you do in your literally free time?
I love boxing.
Okay.
Like boxing is like my way of moving energy and relieving my stress and just being on the complete opposite ends of always like doing makeup or making like
Yeah.
it's like a total opposite.
That's dope. I didn't even know that about you, so I just learned something right now. When did you start boxing?
After I was abducted.
Yeah, that's dope, Shannon.
I think it was more along the lines of, especially after having kids.
Yeah.
Like I always watched it or whatever, but for me it was like, I will never let that type of shit happen to my children.
Yeah.
So I have to.
Dude, you're like J-Lo in Enough.
Yeah, pretty much.
You're such a badass. That's cool. Okay, I like that.
Like that's one of my. I guess it's something that no one knows about me.
Yeah.
One of my like bucket lists
Mhm.
is to do an amateur fight.
Shan, let me like be your fucking hype girl. Let me be your hype girl. Yeah, I'll be your card girl. But I'm biased, so I don't know if I'm allowed to because I'm biased. Oh, that's so cool. Okay, bucket list. Do you ever get tired of just like catering to people and their like weird things that they want and just like
Well, yeah,
make me this and make me that, or I want this or I want that, or do my makeup like this or do my makeup like that. It's just always like doing.
I think
doing.
thing that you have to know, like especially makeup's easier for me in the sense because maybe because I've been doing it longer.
Mm-hmm.
Less is more.
Mm-hmm.
If they want more, they'll ask for it.
Right.
If they are, you need to listen to them. If you don't listen, your client is not going to get what they want, and they will not be happy.
Right.
If you put contour and highlight on a woman who doesn't wear any of that type of shit, she's going to be scared.
Right.
And be like, I will never come back to this person again. Or like, my makeup is horrible.
She
I feel.
made me look crazy. Right.
Okay.
Right.
Photos, it's different because some people want to look like the magazines, but then they complain about not looking like themselves.
Right.
Or you make them look like themselves, and they're like, I want to be skinnier. Even though you might have helped them out a little bit.
They want to look more produced.
Well, it's hard to deal with clients that are everyday women that expect to have the same outcome as a size 00 high fashion model that's with an agency.
Right.
And expect the same exact thing. So
Right.
pleasing those type of clients are very
It's challenging.
hard.
Okay, now put on your makeup artist hat for a second. as a makeup artist, how do you feel about the trends that you see going on now with like, I've watched something, I'm not even a makeup artist, I've just watched some interesting things happen with makeup, with Instagram and social media. I feel like what it's done is everybody looks the same.
Okay.
You don't know one makeup artist's work from another one because they all do the same thing.
Nowadays, also makeup artists that are like YouTubers or whatever,
Right.
a lot of them can only do their own face.
Right.
They're not able to do, you've never seen them do anyone else.
Right.
There's a few people, like bigger YouTubers right now that actually are practicing makeup artists.
Right.
But a good amount of people that everyone watches, they know their face and they can make their face do some amazing things, but on someone else it's not going to be the same.
Right.
Because everyone has a different face, they have different eye shapes, they have different everything.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can't work with that,
Right.
or different skin colors, like how are you a real makeup artist?
Right. What?
Which might be controversial.
Right.
People might say I'm some type of stuff. But honestly, everyone thinks they're a makeup artist.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the Kim Kardashian heavy contour and highlight, to me, is like drag makeup.
It is. Well, the funny thing about
Which is
heavy
cool.
contouring is that people don't realize that people have been heavy contouring for years, but it's like stage makeup.
Exactly.
It's
It is stage
makeup, and so we've taken like,
But doing that on an everyday thing, going to a gym and wearing stage makeup to a gym,
or even just like out and about it's a lot. It's a lot. I feel like a lot of girls are like going home with dudes, and then the next morning these dudes are like,
seriously,
who the fuck
that
are you?
That was not the problem before.
But
like even now, like there's older women that are A-list celebrities that I do makeup on. I can't I can't name their names like that.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't want that shit. And if you even try doing it to them, they
They
will
get
fire
upset.
you in 2 seconds.
Right.
They want the classic beauty makeup.
Right.
There's a big difference between glamour makeup and
Theater makeup, stage
Theater
makeup, yeah. What trend do you love that's come out of like the last year, and what trend do you hate that's come out of the last year in terms of makeup?
it's not really makeup, but like microblading. Like that to me is the coolest thing, like the eyebrow microblading thing.
Okay, yeah.
I think that the focus and emphasis on eyes, more so like lashes, because people were not up on the lash game
Yeah, that is true.
at all.
That is true.
So eyelashes and the fact like the different ways like to open your eyes and a little more fluttery and this and that, like the different shapes, like it's a thing now. Like that's a trend.
Right.
It used to be the little individual lashes, the clusters,
Right.
or like a basic
Strip lash.
strip, and that was it.
Right.
There's even like 2 or 3 different styles at first of the strip
Very good.
when I started.
Very good. And what do you hate now?
Baking.
Baking. Tell me why you hate baking.
Stupid.
I think it's stupid.
I think it's weird. Like I honestly don't understand, and like caked on makeup like for the gods.
Right. Right. Yeah. It's
Like
a
the
thing.
amount of makeup that people put on their face daily and wonder why their faces are breaking out and wonder why they're having
They
skin
look
problems.
crazy, right.
It's insane.
The thing that I've noticed that is tripping me out the most is like, for example, I went to Bath and Body Works the other day, just shopping.
Or the lips. The lipsticks, like the black and the white lipsticks, like why?
The thing that I don't
On an everyday
understand
thing.
is why everyone, like literally everyone and their mom has to wear like a matte nude, or I'm sorry, like a matte brown. Like we get it. We get it with the matte fucking like I think they're beautiful, but we're all like everyone looks exactly the same. Exactly the same. It's like Instagram makeup,
Well, it's the lip. That's the other one. It's
Yeah.
the lips. Like that's the one thing that is like it's fun. Like you're supposed to have like blue or purple lips for like a music video. I could see something like that, or like avant-garde makeup, or a fashion show. But to go to a gas station with some freaking orange, like not orange,
Green lips.
green lips,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
white lips,
Unicorn lips, mermaid lips. Fucking, yeah.
is insane to
It's
me.
a lot. I went to Bath and Body Works the other day. I was checking out, and my checkout guy, little guy that was ringing me up,
was wearing more makeup than you?
No, I wasn't wearing any makeup.
I'm talking about him.
Oh, yeah. He literally had like, I hate highlighter. I hate it. I hate it so
love
much.
highlighter.
Oh my god, I hate
But
it.
it depends. Like, I hate the, like, concealer highlighter. Like, I
We
like
had
a little gleam. Like, I think it's
so
cute.
much highlighter on, and like these people are highlighting their noses to the point where they look like
Aliens.
he looked like a disco ball. And I was like, I wanted to be like, baby, you don't look good. This does not look good. And I feel like you're so insecure and you're wearing so much makeup because you think
They're
it looks
hiding
good and
themselves.
it doesn't look good at all. He looked like an oil slick.
But you have to also think
His
about
face
it.
was so goddamn
Why
shiny.
do guys, like to ask women just out in general, like, you go out and you're made up, your hair's done, your makeup's done.
Yeah.
You go out, sometimes you don't get as much as attention as if you go out in your sweats with your hair in a bun
That's
and no
true.
makeup on.
That is very true.
Like, why are guys more on females when they are literally rolling out of bed?
I think, yeah, why?
Because it's the girl that you're going to see when you wake up.
Yeah.
A lot of guys know when the girl looks this way, you don't really know what she looks like.
That is true. Guys are hip to it now, too.
Well,
They're
yeah,
not
now,
stupid.
well, let's say with the
nowadays.
wigs, like, it's all right now, which is cool in some ways because some people, like, especially that have health issues or that have any type of issues along those lines,
Right.
have felt ashamed about it
Mhm.
or whatever, and now, like, wigs, it's a trend.
It's more transparent.
So guys are like, okay, well, this bitch is gonna have, like, a closet full of wigs, and it's not a big deal.
It's not a big
You
deal,
used
right?
to hide that shit.
Right, that is true. That is very, very true.
Which is a plus.
It is. That's a good thing that's come from how...
Especially for me, I have lupus,
Right.
and having struggled with that since I was 16, I had hair loss. I had alopecia type of hair loss, and that was the biggest insecurity ever.
Right. Right.
So I went through I spent thousands of dollars trying to figure out a way that my hair would look a certain way, or wigs,
Right.
or whatever.
Getting the right fit, the right this and that. And at the end of the day, now, so has that made you, with your situation, has that made you feel more comfortable and more confident knowing that is such like not a big deal now?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
like,
that's good.
honestly, it does. It's like whatever. It's
It is what it is.
like
I mean,
a guy.
everybody-
Like if I'm dating a guy, it's not a big deal if I have a wig.
Right, it's not. Or extensions or anything or whatever.
No,
Yeah.
they're gonna say some stuff like, "Oh, you're black," or "You're this or that," but
Right.
I
Honestly,
don't
I've
give a
seen
fuck
white
about
girls with mad wigs.
well,
and wigs,
here's
like,
the funny thing that most people don't know is that wigs and weaves came from European white girls,
Yeah, they did.
and a lot
Yeah,
of
they
people
did.
don't realize that.
Mid-century.
Mid-century.
Yeah, yeah, they totally did.
And that was normal.
Well, even like, actually, it was old white dudes. George Washington. Wearing a wig.
Seriously.
Seriously, that's cool though. I'm down with that. So,
You done with George
I'm down
Bush?
with George Washington because he got me hooked up right now. So what trends have you noticed? And we're gonna switch back to photography hat now. What trends have you noticed in photography? This is a little less known. I feel like more people are hip to what's going on with
Oh,
beauty and
yeah.
makeup, but less people know unless you're in the industry what trends are going on in photography. So what's going on and how do you feel about it?
Right now, like the most trends are like the high-end retouching,
Mm-hmm.
like the dodge and burn, like the people that really the stuff that where it looks real, but it's super airbrush. Like I don't want to explain it.
Yeah.
Like I had to tweak my own editing
Right.
to be competitive
Mm-hmm.
with what people want right now.
So what was going on before? Correct me if I'm wrong. What was going on before is we had this super.
It was
perfect.
either airbrush to a point where you look like a doll,
Right.
or like you don't have any skin texture.
Right.
You
No
were a
skin
highlight,
texture.
shadow. You look like a blow-up doll,
Right.
like Smooth Magazine type of.
Yes.
Well, you don't
Yes.
say them, but don't say them, but
Yeah. Yeah.
it was either that
Yeah.
or like film. film photography, like that raw, like just natural, beautiful.
Mhm.
But then you couldn't really edit it like that.
Right. So, this trend that we see now is almost like falsified reality.
Yes.
Right? We want it to look hyper realistic, but we don't want it to be real.
We don't want it to be real, but we want it to look as real as possible.
Right. We want it to look like it's real, but it
needs
can't
to be
actually
perfect.
be real. Right? Still needs to be perfect, but real.
So you have to sometimes remake pores.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah, how is that achieved? How do you do that?
literally pore by pore, doing highlights and shadows to make the skin even.
Right. So it's extremely tedious compared to just like before where you could just kind of liquefy and airbrush someone and then call it a day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you...
So it takes longer. It's a longer production.
Right,
Or you do less editing.
right.
Like a lot of if you deal with a model that is a sign model,
Mm-hmm.
they really don't need much editing.
Right,
Their job is to come up to set with their face looking perfect, their hair looking perfect, just like the pictures that you see without makeup and hair,
ready to go.
ready to go.
Right.
So if you don't want to put makeup on them, they still photograph to a point where
You shouldn't
it's
have to.
whatever.
Right.
But the stress and everything that these girls go through to achieve that is insane.
Right. Right. It is. It is. So, it's interesting because I feel like that is kind of like a summary of what Instagram is as a whole. I've noticed that we are really going into like the content. The most liked now, even if you go on like a models, a high profile models Instagram page, or even an actress or whoever, you'll notice that the content that gets the most engagement and the most likes are real photos that look real, but if anyone is in the industry, they know that that's not real. She didn't just wake up like, oh, look at me just drinking my tea in bed.
They have their makeup done.
Yes.
They have their hair done,
Right.
even if it's a messy hair.
Right.
They have a photographer come in. I've had literally photographers
Yeah.
models hire me to come in and shoot with my cell phone some of their advertisements
Yes.
on IG.
Exactly. Because they need it to look organic, but we all know that it can't
And it has to be lit.
actually be
correctly.
organic. Right.
And now they have like the Sony A500s,
Mm-hmm.
which have built-in editors,
Right. Right.
which is insane.
That's what I have.
So you
one.
look perfect.
Yeah, I have one. You don't need to do shit. You really don't need to do shit. It's crazy. So,
So
what-
that is also another reason. Well, that I think is affecting photography in the sense where the point and shoot cameras are now like smartphones in a way,
yeah,
and it's affecting photographers' jobs.
it is.
So the reason why you have to grow with the editing or with the way you're shooting the lighting, whatever it is, or like the magazine look, is because the pictures that people used to pay you for, they're now able to do themselves on a point and shoot camera.
Right, so you have to get better at it. I mean, honestly, you have to be a better photographer now than ever because you have to be able to
have a
do.
complete niche where it is the real, like film,
Mhm. Yeah,
where people want that look still.
right. I feel like as a photographer now, you have to be able to do what the average person cannot do themselves. You know, whereas
have to.
before, I mean, it's really in any industry. I get it. The bar keeps
Because
getting
honestly, there's some people
raised.
that that own a camera and call themselves photographers.
yeah.
And then, I'll do your job for free.
Mm-hmm.
They show up and they do a shitty job. Well, they just do a job.
Right.
And, and they'll use an A500
Yeah.
or they'll use something like that. And it's decent enough. It's like okay.
Right.
It's like low budget photography now.
And they can get by with it.
It's insane
It is pretty wild. It is pretty wild.
to think about it.
It is very wild to think about it. I feel very fortunate to have been able to watch the kind of work that goes into what you do personally. It's a lot, man. It's a lot.
Well, that's another thing that most people don't realize how much work photographers do.
Oh my God, so much.
We drive to the set. A lot of times, if we don't own a studio, we're renting a studio, or the
Right.
client is paying for a studio.
Right.
We are there shooting. It doesn't end then, and most people think it does.
Mm-hmm.
After that, we go home. We have to go through the 1,000 photos we take, or a couple hundred, or whatever. It depends on how many looks you do. Pick out the best of the best. Remove the ones with eyes closed, or crazy poses, or stuff you don't want. No one wants to see themselves looking like that.
Nobody does.
So you remove those, send them a folder or whatever, depending on the situation. Either go through and pick the pictures for them to be edited,
Mm-hmm.
or send them to like their manager or whatever, and they pick out what they want edited, and then they send it back to you.
Right.
You get it edited, or you edit it, and then that's it. But
And it also, I mean, having, depending on who you are, having an assistant and not having an assistant makes a hell of a difference on
oh
set.
yeah, and then not only that too is the edits are not just 5-minute edits.
No.
And
Especially now. Especially now.
One photo can take up to an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. So you imagine you're doing 20 edits. That's 20 hours. That's like a part-time job for one shoot worth of edits. If you have multiple shoots a week, you know.
And then people wonder why people are outsourcing editing.
editing. That was going to be my next thing, is outsourcing editing, and that's a whole nother subject of like technical, you know. But it's mandatory. I think you get to a high volume of shoots, you have to.
Yeah, no,
You
there is
absolutely
times
have to.
when you have to,
Yeah.
or if you have a high profile client and they want mass amount of pictures, or even if you do an event and you need to get just like 300 pictures edited, it's not like you're editing them like you would do a regular photo shoot, but to go through 300 pictures and just change the lighting or the color
Mhm.
balance
Mm-hmm.
is insane.
It is insane.
And I've done that.
Do you have any clients that are like, I don't want to see any photos unless they're editing? That only want to see edited photos?
Yes.
I don't want to see the real version of myself. Only send me edited photos, and then I'll let you know. Which
I've
one.
only had like 2 or 3 people say that
Really?
in my whole career.
Okay. People that were seriously like, I do not want to see my photos unless they're edited. Because I've had a couple of requests like that.
I've had 2.
Okay.
Literally the off the top of my head.
Okay. Do you have?
I've had clients that request their raw pictures, and they were so like in shock at how
different.
different they thought that they looked
Yeah.
when they saw the raw pictures.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, it looked worse than they thought,
Mm-hmm.
and they were like very unhappy.
Right.
But then I edited it and they were happy.
Right.
But it's like,
Mm-hmm. It's always hard too, because sometimes it's often just like,
it depends if they're industry or not too.
it depends if they're industry, and I think it also depends on who's doing it, because sometimes little things like, it's not so much like, oh, make me skinnier, give me like less, pores on my face, but more so like just the finish on a finished photo, color correcting,
Oh, yeah.
lighting, little things here and there, like those finishes. I don't think people realize what editing
Taking out a
can.
wrinkle in the clothes, or like you might have a little roll. Like you don't have to push their whole waist in. It's just that roll that
Right.
you have to remove.
Right. Those things make a hell of a difference. So
Cute. Like that could change a whole picture. Like just like tiny touches
Right.
can change a whole entire picture.
So, advice to photographers: what is your advice in terms of editing in this new way, this hyper realistic way, but still keeping the integrity of the photo? Like, how do you do that without changing?
I feel like less is more at first.
Yeah.
I think that if they want more, they'll ask for it.
Mm-hmm.
So do it, but on a lighter side.
Okay.
Unless it depends on the client. Like
Right.
honestly, that really depends on the client.
Right.
Because I could do a photo with no editing. I just had a client that literally wanted no editing, just the backdrop cleaned up.
Right.
And then I have clients that want like graphic artist work done to their photos.
Right.
And it's crazy because certain it really depends on the client.
Depends on who it is. Okay. What advice do you have for new photographers trying to break into the industry now?
Don't worry about how expensive buying expensive equipment or expensive this or that, or having a whole lighting setup. There's been or a studio even. Like, if you want to do it, do it. Like, don't let anything stop you. Go get a Rebel. Learn how to use it. Go outside, do some shoots at the beach. Mess with it.
Right.
Literally just go there and move buttons. I taught myself. I didn't go to school for photography. I literally just moved it like one direction it was lighter, one direction it was darker. That was my mentality when I got into photography. And then I would do shoots with in my apartment. I had full productions. People thought that I rented out studios and it would be in my house.
Right.
Then I bought some cheap lighting to try and figure it out from there. Then I went higher on the lighting, but I still had my Rebel. Like, I got my first published thing with the Rebel, with just the kit lens. I didn't even change my lens. I didn't know that I had no clue about cameras. Nothing at all. I didn't know that you could change lenses. I didn't know they had, on-camera flashes, off-camera flashes. I didn't know any of that until people started telling me. Oh, don't you have this? Okay, let me go online and figure out what the fuck they're talking about, because I had no idea.
Right. Wow, okay. So, if you love it, go do it.
Yeah, don't be so technical. It's not like you have to sit there and perform a math equation to be able to get a photograph. Right. I can't do math. Right. I can't, but
you can take a good photo.
I'm not gonna sit there and calculate my whole how the light is hitting this part of the person and how many feet this is.
Which some photographers do, and they're so intense about it.
And a light meter. I've never used a light meter. I've never used a light meter in my whole entire career.
And you do it just fine without one.
It's not about what you have. You can use pro photos, which are thousands of dollars, that are amazing equipment. You can use Alien Bees that are not the highest priced thing, and you can get the same type of look. I mean, you can, but you can't.
Basically, work with what you got.
Yeah.
Work with what you got.
Yeah.
Don't let a lack of something stop you from going out and taking a photo if you want to go.
If you can't afford a freaking light bounce, get a white piece of board for $1.99 and bounce the light off the white board.
Right.
If there's too much light coming into a window, throw up a sheet. It diffuses the light.
Right. Call it a day.
It's not
rocket science.
You have to gorilla it. You have to literally just fake it till you make it.
Yeah, work with what you got. Work with what you got. Okay, very good. So how can people follow you, keep up to date with what you're doing?
Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
You still use Twitter?
Yeah.
Really? I try and
I hate it.
I'm so bad.
I hate it.
I'm like, does anyone even read this?
I hate it.
Can anyone hear me?
There's still a huge
Oh yeah, people be on Twitter. I feel like people are on Twitter just to complain about stuff though.
Yeah, I just retweet everything.
They just go on and be like, fuck Obama, fuck Trump, and then they're like, that's what I use Facebook for now.
And then,
I use Facebook to complain.
Our last tweet was in 2013.
I'm thinking about doing a blog. I'll probably end up doing a blog this year because I'm redoing my whole website.
Okay.
And then maybe I don't know.
I think it would be really good for you to give more advice like this. You have a YouTube. So this is important. These are things we need to chat about.
Just literally all behind the scenes of other people. I don't know how to transfer them onto my own YouTube station. I have literally 80, 90 fucking videos on there. I don't know how to.
Okay, we need to figure that out. We need to figure that out. Help her. Can you help her? Okay, good. All right, babe. Is there anything else that you want to include in this?
I think I'm good.
I think we got a good amount. Okay. Look,
barbershops even or something.
Ooh, yeah.